Our question today comes from Oana. She says, I'm working with a team who's constantly bombarded with priority changes at the last minute and new feature requests in the middle of the sprint. How can I, as the Scrum Master / Agile Coach, help with, and especially the product owner, to cut through the noise and find some focus? Now, I'm going to assume that you've probably already tried or have thought about the option of saying no or not now, and I will assume that this is either not an option, but I want to first check and say, have you actually tested that? I've been amazed by how often I find teams saying, well, we can't say no, and yet they've never actually tried to do so. I think it would be worth giving this a try, testing and seeing what happens. So my question to you is, could you test saying no, and what may happen if that was the case? Secondly, I would say one of the things that I like to do in this kind of situation is bring those folks over to the board or show them our visualization of the work that we are working on and say, well, can you help me understand where would this fit? So the question now is, how do we prioritize this relative to our existing work, not would you like this thing to be done? In addition, I've encountered this often with senior leaders inside a company who are asking for requests but unaware of what is happening within the rest of the organization. And by simply bringing them back to the overarching priority of the entire organization, what that enables us to do is say, well, if you want to change that thing, that means we will not be doing this other thing for marketing. And so I'm going to need you to have a bit of a conversation with them to explain to them or convince them that this is perhaps no longer the way that we should work. I think very often what we've done inside the organization is that we've pushed the prioritization decisions all the way out to the edge of the organization, where your folks, such as the product owner and yourself, you don't actually have the information available to be able to make the right decision about which one should you do, right? So what you end up doing is listening to either the person who is loudest, the person who is most likely to affect your next performance appraisal, or just the person who you happen to like more. There is one final suggestion that I can make in this situation, and this is if you are lucky enough to be working with an organization that has something like a flight level 2 system. Very often what I find is that when we are lacking a clear sequence of activities from flight level 2, it becomes very easy to jump around and have the priorities shifting around all the time. And that very often, if we start to surface some of the key things that are actually critical to the organization, we can start to paint a bit of a picture of where we should be going. And so the turbulence at the lower level is not quite as crazy as it may once have been. I hope this helps, and I wish you luck on this. And I thank you for your wonderful question. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Hey do.